Hi, I'm Myra.
And I'm Tressa. We are fancy marketing people with Union, a Wyoming-based telecommunications company. Yes, Wyoming really does exist. We proudly serve the Rocky Mountain region.
On this podcast, we will feature businesses, organizations, nonprofits, and influential people from Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming.
Our mission is to highlight those who inspire their communities daily.
We believe this makes us truly authentic because a journey of 1,000 miles always begins with a single step.
Hello, Myra.
Hello, Tressa.
How's your day?
It's going.
It's going.
It's going.
Yeah. It's a beautiful day out there.
It is beautiful. I should look at the positives.
That's right.
Sun shining. The sky's blue.
Yeah.
There's happiness all around us.
There really is. There's always a positive to everything.
Yeah,
I used to find it.
I need to take a page from that book today. Maybe I need more coffee. That is probably part of it.
Yeah. Should have grabbed some.
I know I'm lacking.
Yeah.
I'm only running on water. So
that's your problem.
Probably half of it. Yeah. It doesn't help with like allergies and with the summer. And it finally rained in Wyoming. I don't know what kind of climate this is, where it rains nonstop. And
it's beautiful and green though.
It is, but boy, I mean, I left the South. I didn't want to leave the South, but I mean, I left for a reason to also not have to deal with the crazy climate and humidity and allergies. And here I am.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I've never had allergies. I'm sorry.
You're like, I'm glad you're suffering.
I'm glad you're suffering.
For the betterment of the environment.
Better you than me. No, I'm joking. I'm just teasing.
That's funny. So yesterday, when we finished wrapping up with our podcast and like we're leaving for the day, Keith, for everybody out there, our producer, I guess I told him I loved him. I'm not really sure if I did or not. There's no facts and we're not going to pull camera footage. But if I did, I think it's hilarious because naturally, like I tell my family all the time, like, bye, I love you, see you later, Did I slip and just be like, bye, I love you, Keith, So now Keith, I mean, of course, there's love everywhere. And yes. I love Keith, but how funny is that?
That's hilarious. I think you just do get in those habits, right? Because I'm similar. I never hang up the phone or leave my family without saying I love you. And so I've done it before too, been on a phone call with like a business associate and like go to hang up and it's just like habit.
I love you.
I love you. But you're spreading love. I love it.
Yeah, I think it would be more mortifying if it was like on a conference call.
Right.
Like with multiple people. Yeah. Just end it after being like, or have a terrible call where you're like, you know what? Numbers are bad. Attitude is awful. And then be like, love you. Like,
yeah, or somebody that you don't know well, right? Yeah. Like you've worked with Keith for years. So it's a little different than like even another colleague that,
take me to HR. Hey, my supervisor told me she loves me.
Is that something we do here now?
Yeah, like I know we're all about inclusion, but this is a little too much for me.
I know I'm behind the scenes, but I said, love you back?
Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Yeah, I've laughed, like, now that I know about it, I don't know if I'm not tell him I love him, so...
It's a thing now. It's a thing.
Yeah. Do you remember when like emojis didn't exist? And
no.
I don't.
How did we communicate?
Yeah,
anyway.
Well, remember when people would use the less than 3?
Oh, yes.
As a heart?
Yes, as a heart. Yeah.
My friend dated a guy and I think he would like not put the less than 3, if I can remember it right. And he would just say, I threw you.
I threw you.
Because he didn't want to tell her he loved her. So there's this like nonchalant way of being like, I threw you. Yeah, so maybe I'll just send Keith the number 3. That's just our universal sign of love.
Yeah, it's the new universal sign between you two.
Yeah.
So he must have been really afraid of commitment. He wouldn't say I love you.
Well, he says he thought he did, but apparently I zoomed out. I don't know. Maybe I was embarrassed. I didn't even know I did it. So maybe my subconscious needed to give love.
No, I met your friend's boyfriend, though. Would it say?
That guy.
Yeah, that guy.
That
No. Oh,
I
no.
was like, I don't know.
That guy.
Oh my gosh. The hilarious. Yeah. No, that guy, I don't know. He was kind of weird.
Yeah.
He was a different
They're not
one.
happily married.
They are not married.
Okay.
By nope. They ended their relationship very quickly after, but I think we were in middle school. And
Okay.
so yeah, awkward.
It's been a few
awkward
years.
romance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but how funny.
Yeah.
The most non-committal way of saying I care about you.
Yeah. The number 3.
Yeah. I threw you.
I threw you. I threw you, Myra.
Yeah, I threw you, Tressa. Three's all around.
We threw all the listeners out
yeah,
there too.
we threw you guys.
All right. Well, let's jump into the show for today. We have a great guest with us today, Kendra West. She's the executive director of the Children's Learning Foundation and the Evanston Child Development Center. So welcome to our show.
Thank
Kendra.
you.
Thanks for being here with us.
It's my pleasure.
All right. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your role within the foundation and what you do, kind of a day in the life of Kendra West?
Wow. Depends on the day. Mostly, we have the 2 centers. The Children's Learning Foundation has about 100 kids. And then we have the Evanston Child Development Center, which has 300 to 400 kids. So it's kind of just overseeing everything that from teachers to kids to, everybody that is, serving or working with ECDC and CLF.
Okay. And so just for the listeners out there, we're talking about the Child Development Center that is located in Mountain View, Wyoming, as well as the one that's located in Evanston.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So, and we have about 74 employees.
Okay.
And so overseeing employees is a big deal every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big staff. Is that between both locations?
Yes, that's
Okay.
between both locations. So, and we've been in business, or we've had Evanston Child Development Center since 1981, and we opened the Children's Learning Foundation in a partnership with Union Telephone in 2010.
Okay. It's been a while then.
Yes,
Yeah.
it has been.
That's awesome.
I didn't realize it had been here that long.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember either.
Yeah, I think there's a plaque. So I'm fortunate to have a child that attends, and so I've seen this plaque inside the little check. Like you have to clock in, and they're very safe and secure for everyone out there to make sure that I'm the correct person entering the building.
Right.
So when I check in, I see the little sign, and I think it. Yeah, I never paid attention to the date, I guess, but I can see the little plaque on the wall without the date. But that's cool.
Well, that's awesome. So do you guys have any plans? I mean, you're basically here in Uena County. Is there any plans to expand out to any other areas within the state of Wyoming?
Well, we have been looking at we're also an early Head Start childcare partnership,
Okay.
which is a new program, fairly new, about 7 years. And the purpose of that program was to enhance the quality of childcare. And that's kind of where we started with this, was childcare. And then we've kind of branched into, we have a state-funded preschool, and we have a 21st century before and after school program. And then the Early Head Start Childcare Partnership kind of involves everybody. So,
Okay.
and eventually we would like to expand to Rock Springs and Green River. So just as they would be partners with us in a partnership, childcare partnership. So.
Well, that's amazing.
That is,
amazing.
yeah, that's really cool. I think something that people out there in listener land, we've talked about it on a couple of our episodes, like being in a rural community and having these world-class resources like right in your backyard. Because for me, I wanted to take my child to a learning facility. I wanted her to be a part of a program where she would grow through. It wasn't just daycare. It wasn't just,
Right.
Playing with blocks. Like she was coming home at 6 months doing sign language, and her development, I really attribute to the fact that she has gone to a learning center. She asked me about 3,000 questions a day, and I feel for her teachers. But I think that it's really cool because people don't realize how lucky we are to have a facility like this in our area, in our community. So to hear that you're expanding, I think is really awesome, because normally not every community in the state has something like this.
Well, and that's really true. I have relatives all over the nation that say, will you come and open a ECDC or a CLF in our state? Because, we are different. It's childcare, but we have a very strategic curriculum that we use. We have an alignment with our school districts so that we use the same curriculum that the children will get when they enter kindergarten. Our teachers are all trained very well. We're required to have 15 hours a year of learning opportunities, and we always do a minimum of 25. And we do require bachelor's degrees in our preschool program, and we work towards CDAs, which is a Child Development Associates, and an associate's degree for our teachers that work in Early Head Start in our programs in both of our places, both of CLF and ECDC.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you have the curriculum that aligns specifically with the school districts in Evanston, and then a different one that would align with the school districts here in Bridger Valley.
Right, that's correct. We have we have a really strong coalition in Evanston with our school district and we meet monthly to kind of look at what the kids need as they're entering school, and we're working really hard to get the same thing established in Mountain View and Lyman.
Okay.
So it's a little harder here because you have two districts, but
Yeah.
The goal is to get these kids ready for school. And in an early learning center, which is what we have, that is the predominant goal, is just to get the kids ready for school. So
Yeah, I think that's amazing that you meet monthly so that you can be proactive with shifting and being agile with the curriculum so that you are honoring what the students are going to be learning. That's amazing. I love
Absolutely.
that.
And it is. The coalition in Evanston is very strong, and we've made some great strides here in the Valley too. Mm-hmm. So it's important because we want the kids to understand the language that the school district is talking, and you do that with the curriculum. So it's, and our curriculum is social emotional, academic, music and movement. So we really try to do a very well-rounded program.
Yeah, I was impressed when Myra was talking about like her daughter Magnolia learning sign language. I was like, that is amazing that they're teaching these young kids that type of thing and not just more on the educational piece of math and reading and those types of things. Yeah.
Well, and during the summertime, we go on a lot of field trips. I mean, we have a really huge summer program for our school age kids. And, we're always going somewhere, whether it's a museum or, a park, or there's, we don't have a lot right here in Evanston or Mountain View. So we kind of branch out to Rock Springs or take them up in the mountains. We do a lot of play in our environment. So that's a big deal to take the kids to the parks and to the state park and to the mountains. That's really important kind of aspect of our curriculum too. We can do any of our curriculum, we can do it outside.
Oh, wow.
I love that. Yeah. I think it's cool because a lot of the employees that work here at Union, our children, if we have small children, have attended the school or have used the school in some manner or have attended in some capacity. And I've never heard anything negative. It's always been, this was a great positive experience. And it's, for those that don't know, it's just across the street, which makes it even better. It's right here. It's easily accessible, but it's like not even just that, it's all of these layers. And I didn't know that you guys followed the curriculum of the schools. That's interesting to me. And especially coming from, I have a relative who teaches third grade at Uri here. And then I have other friends and family that are teachers. That is so probably music to their ears, to know that the kids that are coming in are ready, they're prepared. They, because it can be a shock. It can be, like even the stimulation or the development, there could be a difference between just going from preschool to kindergarten. Like that whole shift is a lot. And I never really thought about that until I became a parent. And I've got she's about to be in kindergarten next year. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, are we ready? You know, and I feel like she's beyond ready. I think she would probably beat me up if I did not send her to kindergarten. And maybe the teachers would be like, or probably like writing, please send this child to kindergarten because she's a lot. But I feel like I'm not questioning too much because I do know that the school is preparing her and like the classes and the stages and the levels. Right. Do you want to talk about like how there's the placement in the levels and how the kids progress and move throughout the school?
Yes. So we do separate our kids according to age and development. Mm-hmm. So it's very important in our program that everything is developmentally appropriate. And so we kind of feel like that's the best way to do it is by their age. And so when they turn 3, then they'll enter into our preschool program, which is very structured. We cover the curriculum that the school districts do. We also do the social emotional that the school districts do, which is conscious discipline in Evanston. And I don't think we're that far yet in Mountain View, but we've had such great support from the superintendents and principals in both districts that it's been easy to kind of get these kids lined up so that they're progressing in a way that they will be ready for school. So, creative curriculum is what we use in the what we call the early years, mm-hmm. And it's the early Head Start program. So, and then when they get to, onto kindergarten, then they develop a whole new curriculum too. So it's kind of based on what age you're in, but we really strongly believe that we need to cover all areas. So we do music and movement. We do, lots of very literacy based. I feel like my goal is kind of you read 4 books a day. And I think reading to kids is probably one of the most important things parents can do. Mm-hmm. And it's also one of the most important things that our teachers do.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. So I think you called it social and emotional.
Yes.
So
mm-hmm.
That's really interesting to me. I mean, back when I was in school, which was a long, long time ago, but that didn't exist, right? It was all focused really based on just education, math, science, all of those things. So what are some of the activities that you do in that arena? What type of things do you do there?
Well, one of the most important aspects of social emotional is teaching kids to self-regulate. And giving them choices so that they make right choices and they learn how to survive in the environment that they're in. Uh-huh. Play well with their friends, ask questions. We believe that everything, there should be an open-ended question when we talk to our kids so they can come back and have an opportunity to express themselves. Mm-hmm. And, our whole behavior program is based on self-regulation and teaching kids to be able to regulate themselves and make good choices instead of, time out and, you have to do this. We want them to decide that that's the best thing. The best way is for them to make the decision themselves. And then they own it, just like adults.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're teaching them to kind of have critical thought and problem solve at such a young age. That's amazing.
This is where the pretzel breath comes from, Tressa.
Yeah.
It's from school.
Okay. So they do teach like a breath work.
Is there a real
pattern.
pretzel breath?
Yeah.
Is this
Absolutely.
real? Okay.
Yes.
So, and I love it because I know we talk about Magnolia, but she is very headstrong. So timeout would never work for her. That's not going to phase her.
Timeout doesn't work.
It doesn't work in general. Yeah, we know that doesn't work. But telling her no and da-da-da, she is so inquisitive. And again, because she's learning to be, to self-regulate, to have this critical thought and ask questions, I see it in my own home where the things that work for her are getting down on her level, hugging it out. Just a simple hug. I mean, seriously, just hugging it out or doing the breath work with her. And Tressa's an amazing person when it comes to breath work. And she's dealt with Magnolia with that too. But we do like rainbow breathing and we make up she calls it bubble breathing and she does the pretzel breath. But when something's going wrong or not to what I think should be happening or what she thinks should be happening, she asks for us to stop and do the breathing. She says, no, I want you to stop and we're going to breathe. And I think that's so cool. I have a 4-year-old helping me self-regulate, and not blow up or get upset or get emotional or over-emotional, with my own expression. So,
well, and I have a 4-year-old granddaughter, and she's been through the program too. And she'll say to me, Grammy, I just need to take a breath.
Yeah.
And how many times as adults do we need to just take a breath before we respond, get control of our emotions?
Yeah.
And I think if we can teach that when they're young, then I think they'll be a lot more successful as adults. If they can just maybe take a breath instead of yell at somebody or get frustrated, and I think that's really an important skill to teach these kids. And when you think about early childhood, you have to understand that almost 99% of their brain is developed the first 5 years of their life. So this is a critical time to really teach them skills that will help them as they become adults. And, I don't think we understand early childhood quite yet. We've done a lot of really important brain research that shows that, these are the 5 years that you really need to develop that brain. That brain will grow as you give them enriching experiences and you teach them, you give them, we try in both centers to give them a lot of different experiences. And that's important because, some of our kids really don't get out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really impressive too. So you must have buses and bus drivers. And I didn't realize how expansive this is, right? And so to be able to take them on these field trips and new experiences and just the exposure to different things, I'm very impressed. That's amazing.
Magnolia loves the bus.
Does she? I'm sure.
We get it. It's identified to me daily now that she's ridden on the bus.
Yeah. And that's important because what do they do when they go to school?
Right.
Yeah.
They ride a bus.
Yeah.
And that's, our program is so much more than just childcare.
Right.
And we really, we're considered a school by the Department of Education. And so it's really, we do not believe that the kids, should just sit in front of a TV. We don't allow screen time because, that's really, we want them to have more experiences than that. And they can get that at home. It's something we just don't believe in. We're also nationally accredited by the National Association for the Education of the Young Child, which is very rare in the state of Wyoming. I think there is only 20% of centers that are accredited. It's quite a process, but it has also taught us the important things in early childhood. And it's great to have that opportunity to learn the different standards and to apply them in our centers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. So, what type of hours do you have your facilities open?
We're open from 6 in the morning until 6 at night.
Okay.
And one thing that we have found is that traditionally, childcare ends at 5, but most people work until 5. And so, give them that extra time to come and pick up the kids and maybe, go to the store first. But we really try to adapt our hours that meet the community. So we're open 5 days a week, year round. We don't close for the summer. Summer becomes our what we call camps.
Yeah.
And we're trying to trick the kids into some academics through the summer.
I appreciate it. So.
But going on the field trips, I'm a firm believer that you can learn so much more if you're doing it hands-on. And so by taking the kids on these field trips, we're not just teaching them bus etiquette, which they need for school, but we're also showing them their community that they live in and the opportunities that they have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, I bet summer actually picks up, right? Because the kids are then out of school.
Right.
And so for working parents, it gives them a space for their kid to go and enjoy and experience and socialize and learn. Yeah.
And that's what we want it to be. Most parents don't have summers off. And so it's important that we provide that kind of a service in the summertime. So And we love it. I mean, it is fun to take these kids on field trips and to see their excitement. And I mean, everybody loves to ride a bus. So,
that's a field trip in itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
And believe me, we've done that a couple of times. Just taken them on a little bus trip. But, it's kind of exciting. We have expanded extremely in Evanston. We're in the process right now of building a new building. We're going to have a brand new facility. We outgrew ours. Plus, it was modular that was born in 76, I think. So it was kind of falling apart. So we've really worked hard to get the money to fundraise and apply for grants so that we can build a new state-of-the-art facility in Evanston, like the one we have in Mountain View, because we have a beautiful facility in Mountain View. I mean, as I travel across the state in other roles that I have, we do have one of the nicest facilities in the state.
Yeah.
So we're very proud of that.
That's great.
I agree. I think the facility is what stood out to me too, especially my first day here at Union. It was the first day I took Magnolia to school. So I was crying in my badge picture because I had not been away from her yet, but I felt comfortable because of the facility, and you only get to see what it looks like. I don't know what happens with the academics yet. So I love that it's a comfortable, safe environment.
Well, we want our parents to feel like this is their home away from home, and we want to be that partner with parents to help you raise your kids and provide the best we can.
Yeah, I do have a question. So earlier you talked about how the facility invests in the community. You're investing in your teachers. You're providing for them to have an associate's, or they can take that next step in their education if they so choose to. How are you also, I know you're investing in the kids academically, but are there any programs for children or for parents who it may not be financially suitable, or they might not know what resources are out there? Are there any things that they could be aware of?
Right. Oh, and I'm glad you brought that up, because the state of Wyoming does a really great job of providing subsidy for childcare if you're below income, and they do basically they pay for it 100%. We do have scholarships at both centers, so that if you can't afford to pay the full tuition, there are other means to because we want our kids there. We're a private nonprofit, and we're not there to make money. Mm-hmm. We're there to be successful in helping these kids be ready for school. And so there are scholarships available for preschool. There, we have a sliding scale if some parents can't get on DFS, which is the childcare subsidy. So, we really try hard to work with our parents so that because we want them to have a quality facility when they're, working, so they don't have to worry about it. It makes them, they're better employees. Their kids are safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we close today, is there anything that maybe we haven't talked about that you feel you wanted to share with the listeners out there regarding the Child Development Center or the Learning Foundation?
Well, I think one really important thing to say about the center that we have is that we have so many people watching over the kids, and we have so many people in and out of the classroom, our administration, our teachers, our coaches. We have coaching for teachers, instructional coaching, and there's so many people in and out that your kids are well taken care of. They're safe, and we provide an amazing environment. And we always have open enrollment, so we're trying to always be able to handle as many kids as need care and education.
Okay, so open enrollment means they could come at any time, right? And join.
Correct.
Okay, that's wonderful. I love that.
And we've noticed that makes a big difference, especially in communities like Mountain View and Lyman, because there's peak times for work, and there's there's parents need all different hours and different times, and that was one of the big pushes with Union Telephone, getting it into Mountain View and Lyman.
Yeah. Well, I I don't have children, but I mean, most of my coworkers had. And I remember, years ago, a lot of my coworkers struggled with finding any daycare because they were all basically private daycares, right? And, regulated through the state, which they should be, but then they could only have, in these homes, so many children.
Right.
So, yeah, it was definitely, I know, a need in the community. So
it really was.
Yeah.
And I think that working together with a business in the community is really important. Meet the needs of the community is kind of one of our goals too.
Yeah, it's one of ours also.
Yeah.
It's a great partnership. So
it really is.
Yeah.
It helps out both people, I believe, both
Yeah.
The center and the company. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate the conversation.
Well, I appreciate being invited. I think this is great.
Thanks, Kendra.
You're welcome.
Well, until next time.
Stay authentic.